Hello again. Welcome back to Meyer MAPP 3D assignment number 6. I believe this is the 5th video. Now we're going to get in, mess around with product integration and starting place EQs. If you remember, we've created arrays that are mixed with different loudspeaker types. And you know what? Different loudspeakers sound differently. They have different EQ responses and they have different phase responses, have amplitude and phase response. So we're going to have to configure that in such a way that they all play nicely together. So let's go over to Compass and let's look at the overview page and engage the LEOs because we're going to work with them all together here. And we're going to go into product integration and pick the type of speaker we're using. It is a Leo M, and we're going to stick with the PC 100 there. You can go a little bit higher, but we're going to go with 100. And our starting place EQ is going to be Leo M narrow because most of our boxes are just barely angled. If you have a lot of angles in a Leo array, you're going to have more between 5 and 10 degrees for 3 elements. You might want to use Leo M medium, but we're going to keep, pretty sure across my array, everything is pretty narrow angled. Maybe near the bottom, it's a little different, but we'll start with this Leo M narrow and hit OK. And it's going to warn me right away, hey, if this is a mixed Leo line array, you're going to need to add 8.05 milliseconds to all the Leo outputs. Click yes to make this automatically happen. Click no if you don't want this to happen. And we want this to happen because we are indeed mixing Leos and Lions together. What's going on here? Well, the Leos are an older design and they are all analog. All the processing is all analog, and the Lions actually have DSP in them. They have digital signal processing. They are a newer model box, and they have the inherent latency that digital adds, which is 8.05 milliseconds. So by putting that delay, let's say yes, and you'll see the 805 milliseconds delay. So the Leo is now going to be delayed to wait for the Lion to come around. Let's move down here, and I want to follow the instructions because I'm about here. And that PC 100, remember how I just set the phase response to PC 100? What is that? PC stands for phase curve, and it's every speaker has an inherent phase curve. Speakers, almost all of them, get later in lower frequencies, and so you will see phase wrapping down in the lower frequencies. And phase curve is a way of talking about where that first initial phase wrap is as you go down in frequency. For example, this PowerPoint slide here, if you had a speaker that had phase wrapping, its first phase wrapping at 500 hertz, it would be said to have a phase response, a phase curve of PC 500. And if you look historically across Meyer loudspeakers, you see a trend where Meyer Sound has tried to improve its phase response over the years. And back in the 2000s, during the M series, the Milos and the Micas, and as we have in the Gracie Theater here at Husson, the Melodies, they have a phase wrap right around 350 hertz. And they actually wrap one more time near 70 hertz. And they try to wrap even again, but that's down in the subsonics. Later, Meyer developed some newer speakers, including the UPJs we have at Husson and the Leos. They wrap near 100 hertz, 125, somewhere in that area. Each speaker's a little different. Some are at 100 and some are at 125. And so if you use, like we had at Husson, we had UPJs for front fills and Melodies as mains. When you put them together, you actually got quite a lot of phase difference, about 90 degrees of phase difference at 350 hertz. So they didn't play very well together. Now, the newer speakers, which include the Lion and the Leopard and all that, they have a much lower phase response. Meyer's gone to DSP. They figured out some ways to get around this, and so the PCs are down quite a bit lower, near 60. So PC 60. And so 60 hertz. So anyway, in this particular assignment, we've got Leos playing with Lions, and we're going to set the Leos, which you just did a moment ago, to have a PC of 100, and we're going to actually add set PC 100 to the lions, which actually makes them a little bit later. It's actually an all-pass filter that's going to delay just those lower frequencies to match up, so the lions and the Leos will play together effectively and not create crazy combing in the middle of the array. All right, so in a moment we will get to that lion and we will set that. The other thing we did here when we played with this is we picked a starting place EQ setting. And that's because the Leos inherently don't have much EQ in them because they are a passive box with no DSP. And so by pulling up that Leo narrow preset, initially, we added EQ, and if you go into the processing window here, you can see that channel output 6 and all these channels here have the same preset, whereas some low end has been taken away and the top end has a nice boost on it. So we'll go back to the overview here. We now need to do this same process for the lions. So we'll do this, we have to do this 3 times here because we've got 3 different types of lions. But the first one, we're going to call up a lion. And we're going to set its PC to 100 to match the Leos. And for starting place EQ, we're going to pull lion, and we are in a lion M right now. Lion M, medium and narrow. And what was our angle? You'd have to go back and look at that to be sure. In the assignment, I say pull narrow 1 to 5 to 5 for up to 4 elements, but it's only one box here that we only have this with. You could go back here and check and go, okay, this one has 4 degrees, so I'm just going to pick lion M narrow as the instructions tell me to do. Lion M narrow. And that's okay, so that's going to pull up the EQ, set the PC to match the Leos. Okay, the next one is a lion W, so we're going to set that as well. So product, lion, and find a lion W. Oh, we've got to set its PC to 100, and it's lion W. We've got a bunch of choices here, and again, you could look back. You only have one that you're working with. So, debatable, in the field you could play with the EQ, but we'll go lion W medium. We'll just go with that and hit OK. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the link group here. I'm going to turn on the link group for the bottom WXTs. And there is not, we're going to set pick lion. We're going to make its phase line up with the Leos, very important. And there isn't actually a WXT preset. So we'll go with wide here because I know we have more than 15 degrees angle between these two because the bottom box itself is 15 degree. So hit OK. And now we've done all of these. And if we look across here, of course, we will see, I can go through the channels here. By the time we get to channel 13, we will see the different lion, that's a different lion, and this is even a different lion, and those two are the same. So you can see what has happened here, and it is set this EQ, and of course it's also put in all pass filters to get the phase alignment consistent. If we go back over to map, we will see in our processor that all of this has been pushed to map, which is fantastic, making our lives a lot easier. So what else does the assignment want? You're going to do some screenshots here of the entire compass page and name that compass finished, your last name, your first name. So compass, and of course, Command Shift 5 on a Mac would take a screenshot of this whole thing and name it that. You're also, to show me that you have effectively linked them, you're going to map 3D and you're going to do a whole screen capture of this, and I'll be able to see that everything is set correctly. And you're going to name the map 3D one, map processing finished, your last name, your first name. Now saving, of course, is very important. So we will save this project as in Mapville, as I think I'm on 07 here. And don't forget to save in Compass. So in Compass, go to Project, capture yourself a new snapshot here, capture a new, you could even say finished, I think, because we are finished, which is pretty exciting. And save your project in Compass as well. And then as a final thing here, like you're going to pack a bunch of different things together into a folder and zip it and submit it. You should have 2 files. You should have your map file, map6, your last name, your first name. You should have map6 compass, your last name, your first name, and a couple screenshots. You've got the side view of the angling and compass finished screenshot that we just made and the map finished screenshot. So zip it all up and put it up. If you're curious about your grade, look at the rubric for details. But hope you enjoyed this particular map assignment. I think it's kind of interesting and cool doing these hybrid arrays and setting everything to work together nicely. All right, have a great day. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.